Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something I like to call the alchemy of trade-offs and the percentage of happiness. Look, we live in a world of literally infinite choices, but we only have finite time, right? Understanding the hidden structure behind how you make your decisions, honestly, it's going to completely change your daily life. Let's get right into it. Okay, picture this. It's Friday night. You're standing at that deeply relatable crossroads we've all faced at some point. On one hand, you could say yes to the party. Go out, stay out late, laugh until your stomach hurts, and make some amazing memories. But on the other hand, you could just head home early, catch up on some much-needed sleep, and wake up feeling totally refreshed to crush a highly productive Saturday morning. Now, what's really fascinating here is the strict underlying logic. Every single time you say yes to that late night out, mathematically, you're saying no to that productive morning. It's simple, right? If you choose the party, you lose the sleep. If you choose the sleep, well, you're probably going to miss out on the fun. This right here highlights the fundamental pattern of the entire human experience. Every single day, with literally every decision you make, you are making a trade-off. Because the absolute crucial point is this. Whenever you gain something, you inevitably, unavoidably lose something else in return. There's just no escaping this logic. No matter how hard we try to life hack our schedules, to really anchor this whole philosophy, let's look at what the famous economist Thomas Sowell had to say. He put it perfectly. There are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. We are constantly living in this paradox of choice. And to figure out how to actually manage these constant trade-offs without totally burning out, we've got to stop looking for some magical solution that lets us have it all. Instead, we need to start looking at our lives as a series of strict percentages. So let's look at the math behind this. Grounding this in the simplest way possible, think about the word percent. It literally translates to per 100. To make this tangible, I want you to picture your total time and energy strictly as a limited basket of exactly 100 apples. That's it. That is all you have. There are no extra apples hidden away in some secret compartment for a rainy day. Because of this undeniable cold hard math, that popular motivational idea that you can just give 110% to everything, yeah, actually scratch that, it's completely impossible. It is mathematically false. Think about it. If you take 7 apples out of your basket to focus on learning a new hobby, well, mathematically speaking, those are 7 apples you no longer have for your sleep, or your career, or your family. Every single apple has to be accounted for when calculating your percentage of happiness. Let's expand on this with another visual that I really love. Think of your life like you own a hotel and it has exactly 100 rooms. Now, in your low season, maybe you're only using 50% of your potential, right? But as things get crazy busy and you want to increase your capacity, let's say by adding 20% more effort into your career, you have to use decimals to see the real cost. Adding 20% means multiplying your whole by 1.2. So suddenly, you need 120 rooms. But wait, you only have 100. So that extra 20% has to come from somewhere else. You might actually have to downsize your social life drastically, maybe by 40%, just to make the space. So the tangible cost of this math is pretty striking. To accommodate that big career push, you literally have to downsize your social capacity. You have to convert those social rooms into a home office. You can't just magically build a new wing on your hotel out of thin air. You can only repurpose the 100 rooms you already have. Now I know, this realization can feel super overwhelming at first, right? But history actually shows us that the most successful people in the world are the ones who lean into these trade-offs, rather than desperately trying to avoid them. Let's pivot from math over to history for a second to see this in action, because this exact same paradox of choice confronted a 22-year-old Charles Darwin. He was standing at a massive crossroads in his life. On one side, he could have chosen a very stable, highly respectable career as a clergyman. It would have pleased his parents, offered a nice, comfortable life. But on the other side, he could risk all of that for a shot at scientific greatness. It was a massive, life-altering trade-off. And well, as we know, he took the risk. And while it obviously paid off for him in a legendary way, the reality is that even Darwin likely spent years wondering, what if about the alternative? That lingering what if is basically the cost of admission for any big decision. It proves that even the absolute best macro-level life choices come with a really heavy price. You just can't escape the trade-off, no matter how wildly successful the outcome turns out to be. Because of this unavoidable cost, we need to completely shift how we look at our decision-making. The ultimate life question is not, and honestly never should be, how can I have it all? Instead, we really ought to consider this incredibly compelling thought from Christopher Hitchens. In this life, we must all choose our regrets. Let that sink in. Which regrets are you actually willing to live with? That is the deeply personal calculation every single one of us has to make. And this perfectly leads us into how we actually achieve a high percentage of happiness. The secret isn't saying yes to every single opportunity that comes your way. It's actually the exact opposite. As Steve Jobs famously warned, focus isn't about saying yes to the thing you're working on. It's about saying no to 100 other great ideas. Think about that. It's not just about rejecting the bad ideas, it's about having the guts to reject the great ones too. So, the absolutely crucial point we arrive at here is the power of intentional rejection. Saying no is, for sure, the hardest trade-off of all. We naturally want to say yes. We want the great ideas, the exciting new experiences. But intentionally choosing what to trade away, actively guarding your 100 apples or those 100 hotel rooms, that is exactly what separates a merely good life from a truly great one. When you finally embrace this, you gain the superpower to focus on what actually matters. So, what about you? Which regrets can you actually live with? What is the biggest trade-off you've ever had to make? And looking back, was it worth the percentage of happiness you gained? I would absolutely love for you to share your experiences down in the comments. Also, if you want to dive deeper into this, we've compiled our research into our new book, The Unschooler's Educational Dictionary, which is linked right down in the description. And hey, if you found this explainer helpful, consider joining our Patreon community for ad-free explainers and extra exercises. Thanks so much for exploring this with me. Keep making those intentional trade-offs, and we'll see you next time.